好，同志们，好，同志们，我们未来的，我们是中国现在 China Now, in which we ask, friend or foe, war or peace, with yours truly, your gang of two, Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and yours truly, Michael Olson, who was long ago dissuaded from being a China hand by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Nansu, for the past 3 years, we've been watching Xi Jinping purge his military of all of the generals that he had hired to conduct the invasion of Taiwan. And we've wondered and scratched our head what the heck is going on, because these senior generals just disappear. Two of them have reappeared, but they were reappeared under a death sentence that then they were given a reprieve. So they're sentenced to death, but we're not going to kill you. What the heck is going on there?
Okay, China has this kind of sentence that I don't know how many countries have. It's called somebody call suspended death penalty.
Yes.
So it's basically a death penalty, but 2 years of a delay for execution.
Okay, so we're going to kill you, but not right away.
Not right away, but 2 years. And typically, for high-ranking Chinese government officials, when they are sentenced to death and death penalty, and while giving them 2 years of delay, basically means 2 years later they will change the the death penalty to lifelong sentence. So basically, that's the kind of like a standard setup.
Okay. First,
Now,
first they'll convict you, then they will give you a sentence of death. They will suspend this sentence of death for a while, and then they'll either kill you or commute your sentence to life or something like that.
yeah. So the reason you think about that, the reason that they're doing that, it's think about this. When they arrest these very high-ranking government or military officials, it's going to be a shock, a political shock, right? And then it will, because these important people, because they are they occupy the very important positions. They have a lot of connections inside the top leadership circle in China,
Right.
right?
A lot of business hanging pending, right?
Right. Well, business it's easier to deal with, but it's the top leadership circle, right?
Right.
That they're going to they don't know, uh, and they don't know how the unrest is going to the sentence will cause what kind of unrest inside of their leadership circle and inside the regime political system. So they say, well, give them 2 years, and give them 2 years means give a little hope to the families or this guy, this whoever sentenced his friends and his allies, all these people, gave them a little hope. They will try to, because it's not an automatic change. 2 years later, it's not automatic change from death to lifelong sentence. Okay, so
So
meaning,
if you don't behave, if then it will be a death sentence. So,
yeah, so
huh,
basically that, and then you gave little hope to his family, to whoever associated with him, that they because they try to save him, so they are not going to do something extreme, right? some extreme actions. They
Right.
still try to save him. And also, these 2 years, these guys already sentenced that they need to behave themselves in the jail. They need to uh, give more information to the government, right? The
You know,
government.
Nansu, I've been thinking about this in terms of Iran, and perhaps, the great worry about striking a deal with Iran is that they'll just go right back to doing whatever it is that you don't want them to do. It's almost guaranteed. So perhaps they should be given a death sentence, and will suspend it for 2 years or 20 years to make sure that you're behaving before we allow you to reprocess your nuclear materials or something.
We can't do that
I
here.
can't
Come
do that.
on, we have every 4 years there's a new president. You don't you think too long.
I guess you're right. Yeah, the next one might be flying them airplane loads of money.
So we don't know what the next president is going to do. So wherever we got right now, let's get it. Just just don't think of it too long. Okay. So and the American public opinion change really quick.
There you go. Well, going back to the Chinese and the incarceration of these generals, when you pluck a general out of the system, you're not just plucking one person, you're plucking a whole food chain of people out of the system because each of those generals to become a general had to build a lot of alliances and friendships and whatnot, correct?
That's
So
correct. Especially under the regime system, right?
that's a patronage system is what it is. So you have to have a patron to get an advancement in the military. And the way you get a patronage is that you do them favors or buy their favors or whatnot. So to become a general, you have to have a lot of people underneath you. And then if you were just to get rid of the general, you have all of these loose people running around. You don't know what they're going to do.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. So now for Xi Jinping to now the question is why the death sentence, the suspended death sentence to these two top generals, both of them serve as a Secretary of Defense, before they were arrested, right? One, so Li Shangfu served as uh, Secretary of Defense until 2023, and then Wei Fenghe replaced him, served basically 6 months from after the first one retired. He stepped in, served for what 6 or 7 months of Secretary of Defense, and then both of them were arrested
And
after that
disappeared. Yeah.
disappeared. So now the two generals death sentence. Why they make an announcement of the death sentence right now? That's the key to realize to analyze what Xi Jinping is going to do next. Now, Zhang Youxia was, the real top general in Chinese military besides Xi Jinping himself, was arrested on January 23rd, right? He was announced arrested January 20 I wouldn't say arrested, but he was
Detained.
taken to custody, right?
Yeah. He was detained. Yeah.
He was detained on January 23rd. Now, on April 8th, which was last month, Xi Jinping, we talk about this, right? Xi Jinping started doing this high level military official training class. And he had a radio, I'm sorry, video um, training section to the entire uh, high level military officials throughout the country on April 8th. and then they start the new wave of to shake up movement to basically it's a shake up to shake up the whole military, right? So now usually in this kind of movement, the first they separate this kind of shake up movement. They will be separate to several phases. The first phase is they are asking your opinion, you know, uh, give your opinion to how we operate, right? So, what's your opinion? Do you have anything against the current situation? This is, the hundred flower movement, that kind of thing, right? Um, so they will, this is the first phase, and the second phase is to second phase they will trying to do political study. Uh, so basically it's to uniting everybody's thinking. They have to consolidate everybody's, what you believe, right?
Right.
And that's the second phase. And then the third phase, it's called self-criticism and criticize each other. So that will be the phase because after, you are free to let people know your opinion. The second phase is they will consolidate everybody's opinion. And then third phase will, they will start this process of so-called everybody, examining yourself, self-criticism, and then you criticize each other. Then by the end of the third phase, when the criticize each other becomes harsh and harsh, then all these, dirty laundry will come out, right?
It,
So
it, it's it's kind of like the rectification campaigns of Mao.
that it's true. That well, think about all the previous ratification. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is the formal war of this shaking up thing movement is called the ratification
Yeah.
movement, right? But so the in the so Xi Jinping is basically using Mao's ratification movement, that kind of same process. So to try to shake up the Chinese military now. Now he started the April 8th this process. He had a video broadcasting to the entire military's
Right.
high level official. So high level official is the standard language to describe all the military officials ranking from division commander and up. So that's what it is. So now on April 15th, that the Xinhua News agency, they have this new article come out say Xi Jinping tried to push forward a study movement. So it's a study movement. It's, they will say encourage you to read more books. But
Yeah.
if you really look into it, it's really they encourage everybody, including the military officials in this ratification process, to read Xi Jinping's book, to study his, his logic
Xi
and
Jinping thought.
is Xi Jinping thought, right? So now, so you can see, which is like just a week difference.
Yeah.
Usually, this
It
will take
wasn't didn't last the
the
thought.
first phase. They start the second phase only a week after the first phase started, right? And now, they by put the sentence, the death sentence, suspended death sentence to these two top military generals. They literally into the third phase because the third phase when you start is criticize each other and self-criticism. You need focus. You need to have people have some focus on what are you going to what all this criticism is about. So
It was
so
it was
they
it was only a week of thought, a week of reading, and then a week of criticism, and now let's move it to action. So boom, 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 and it
It's
was
very
all
fast,
very
right?
fast. Yeah.
Now think about these two generals who were just put in death penalty. They deeply connect to Zhang Youxia, right? They are the Zhang Youxia's successors. Zhang Youxia after he was promoted, so and these two are following him, occupying the same position that previously occupied by Zhang Youxia. So basically, by putting these two generals in in death suspended death penalty, they gave the target of the third phase, you know,
This is
of
who we're
this.
really going after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is who we are really going after. We are going after Zhang Youxia. So if you know anything about Zhang Youxia, or you know somebody in your group who has a deep relation with Zhang Youxia, you need to you need to step forward to speak out. Basically,
Oh.
that's what it is. So now usually this process will takes a little longer. It's not just like this, like a boom, 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 like within a month they start the whole ratification already from the first phase to the third phase, right? I think that there are two things. So Xi Jinping is to speed up this whole process now. Um,
And
and
the
why?
process is aimed at Zhang Youxia.
Yeah, I think Xi Jinping wants to. I think this is what Xi Jinping trying to reach. Uh, in uh, in October, either October or November of this year, they are going to have the fifth plenary meeting. Chinese Central, CCP's Central Committee is going to have the fifth plenary meeting, and which is going to pave the way for the next year's CCP's 21st national conference. So they are going to make some personnel arrangement for next year's 21st CCP National Conference, so that Xi Jinping want to have solid control of the military before October or November of the fifth plenary plenary meeting that's coming, that's forthcoming. So I think he want to consolidate his leadership in China, in the Chinese military, so that he will have more bargaining chips when going to the fifth plenary meeting.
And when does he run for re-election, as it were?
That's the October or November of next year.
Okay, so he's setting himself up to completely control the military so that he can take another term as a dictator or as warden, as I like to say.
Yes,
So,
basically, you think about right now, the Chinese military only have four-star generals. That's uh I think it's three, actually, three four-star generals, because the rest of them either retire or being arrested. So he purged most of them, right? So you only have three four-star generals, and there's a huge, I wouldn't use the word huge, but there is a lot of vacancies, vacant to be filled by Xi Jinping. So he want to go through the whole all this ratification process. So after that, after he further purge or punish the some of or demote some of the military generals, and through by going through this process, he will promote a bunch of lieutenant
young,
general
yeah, young whippersnappers willing to please the
Xi
leader.
Jinping, and then loyalty to Xi Jinping, right? So um he will basically promote a bunch of them, a bunch of major generals to lieutenant general position and lieutenant generals to general position. So he's going to do all that, prior to the fifth plenary meeting.
And as I understand it, he has his wife working on the personnel department of the PLA and in a position to determine which people should get those uh, positions in the military. So he said
Yeah,
he's
so and Xi Jinping was quite clear, on April 8th when he had this speech to the high level military officials training class. He mentioned a Gutian meeting. Gutian meeting was a meeting that was held in 1929 in the very early stage of the Chinese military after it was established in 1927. You know that there's another very famous Chinese military general, Zhu De. It was Chairman Mao's time, right?
yeah,
So
I remember the name.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Zhu and Mao, there are two names often mentioned together before communist regime take over control of China. So Zhu is the top, very top military general. So the relation between Chairman Mao and Zhu De is like the relation between Xi Jinping and Zhang Youxia, basically. And now, Gutian meeting, which was held in December of 1929, because it's just who is going to become, take control. It's Zhu or Mao. It's Chairman Mao or Zhu De, because they two are equal at that time. And then after Gutian meeting in December of 1929, Chairman Mao took the lead. And then in the Chinese Communist Party history, it was so written that the result of that meeting uh, led to the Communist Party's total control of military, and Chairman Mao's leadership overcome gangsters leadership. That's what they say. Why they call it gangster? Because Zhu De was a gangster member before he joined the military at the end of the Qin dynasty. There are a bunch of gangsters. It's like um,
The
uh,
Teamsters Union,
yes, yes,
something like that.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so it's
It's
a
like
bunch of people who have shared interests get together and
yeah,
fight
yeah,
for
and
each
then
other.
right. They do a bunch of things against the law, okay?
Right.
Against the Qin dynasty's law, basically. They are against the Qin dynasty, right? So, the Qin dynasty, so they say that finally Chairman Mao's leadership overcome the gangster ways of thinking. So that's how it was written in the Chinese Communist Party's
Sure.
history.
History.
So now they're
History
using that.
belongs to those who write it.
Yeah. And then so they and the reason Xi Jinping mentioned that meeting, of course, he used that to portray, the current situation that Xi Jinping against the Zhang Youxia, right?
Right.
So Zhang Yuxia is like a
There you
gangster, right?
go.
So basically, it was very clear of how this ratification process direction is going, and I think the reason it's moving so quickly is because I think uh, he had a tremendous advantage now. Uh, the tremendous advantage now that Xi Jinping after he detained Zhang Youxia. And also another thing is he cannot wake because he's still in shock because Venezuela situation and Iran situation that basically show how weak the Chinese weapon system defense system work.
And how vulnerable they are. But with that, we're
Yeah.
going to take a quick break. This is China Now with the Gang of Two, Nansu and Michael Olson. When we come back, we have lots of great stories.
Satisfy your hunger with a fresh, prepared, twice daily grab-and-go sushi you'll find waiting for you at Sushi Market Sprouts, 2 blocks from the beach at 300 7th Avenue in Santa Cruz. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
Hello, I'm Junko, and I look forward to serving you at the Sushi Market Sprouts.
Satisfy your hunger right now with the delicious ramen and sushi you'll find waiting for you at Kaito, easy in and out location in the Capitola Mall food court. Special orders welcome. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
This is Koji. I'm looking forward to seeing you at my restaurant, Kaito.
California coast to the fertile valleys inland. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend. Earthwise can clear it, mulch it, move it, sculpt it, green it, drain it, or retain it, any way you choose. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and I have some property behind my home at Larkin Valley that I've never seen. It was completely overgrown with brush and poison oak, well over 10 feet high. I wanted to have it cleared to protect my horses from wildfires, but nobody could do the job. Then I called Buck at Earthwise. Buck brought out his big brush-eating machine and turned all the brush and poison oak into mulch. It was truly transformational. Thanks to Earthwise, my property is now like a park and I can trail ride my horses.
Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend.
There is more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Carly from Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive, SoCal. With tinctures, Treehouse tinctures are available in many different flavors, are rapid acting and versatile, and offer precise dosage control for consistent enjoyment. Treehouse has a friendly staff to help you select the right tincture for your needs. Blue raspberry, anyone? Stop by and say hi. Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive, SoCal.
Or ourtreehouse.io.
This is 中国现在 with Nansu and Michael Olson and you. A lot of exciting things happening out there in the world. And one of them is very interesting to me, and that was Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te went to Eswatini. Eswatini. Now, that's one place in Nanshu I've never been. Never been to Eswatini. Even when it was Swaziland, I've never been there. So it's one of the 12 nations that maintain diplomatic relationships with Taiwan, and thus are one of the 12 nations that Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party are not too happy with. So when President Lai Ching-te decided to go to Eswatini, the Chinese Communist Party and its ambassadors called on all of the countries along the flight path of the president's airplane and demanded that they refused to allow them to fly through their air defense zones. So that made quite a stink around the world when it got right down to it, Nansu, because it really was a demonstration of China's and the CCP's bully nature.
Coercive behavior,
Yes.
See, if you buy all these three small countries on the path of the fly direction, they I think two of them sign up to China's Belt and Road Initiative, and one of them, although did not sign up to the Belt and Road Initiative, but it's very close to China. China has a tremendous amount of influence to these small countries in Africa.
Very much so. And they've been working very hard at consolidating those as well. So when the president of Taiwan flies in to visit a friend, they take great offense to that. But they backed down. And Taiwan and Eswatini figured out how to affect this visit anyway.
Well, he actually made it later, I'm
Yeah.
not sure it was through a different route, probably through a different route. So he made it. I think he probably came back already. Maybe yesterday he probably came
Yeah,
back to Taiwan already.
yeah.
So now you just that's just how well the original it was supposedly I think the original arranged visit was probably April 23rd, I remember. If I remember right, the date, 23rd. But it got delayed, and until early May. So I think this is just showing the world, you know, you you can't use your whatever the thought process or the logic of your own, of the people living in the Western world to analyzing how Beijing is going to do things.
What's interesting to me about it is that it's you add it to all of the other things that are happening with respect to China and its bullying nature. And I'm thinking right now of Shen Yun and how China, the CCP, has a policy of fighting every time Shen Yun wants to put on a performance of this classical Chinese ballet around the world. And China puts the heat on everybody not to allow them to do it. And they forced Toronto to back down and not allow the performance of Shen Yun. And they did it by calling in bomb threats,
Right.
which
Well,
is
it's not the only time it happened, right? You
no, it
also
happens all the time.
It's happen everywhere, all around the world. They're calling, the Chinese embassy and consul general just keep calling all the venues, ask them, force them, or threaten them to cancel the show. So it's been going on for like more than what? It's almost like 20 years.
20 years. But
Yes.
Toronto forced Shen Yun to shut down. Then Shen Yun and people got together and forced Toronto to relent. And so Shen Yun was able to perform in Toronto, and contrary to the wishes of Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. So why is Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party so apparently paranoid of Shen Yun and
Well,
of the
because
president of Taiwan and everybody else when it gets right down to it?
Well, there was something in common, right? Either Taiwan's president or Shen Yun's performance, whatever they do, it will make people have the kind of imagination uh, how China could be without Chinese Communist Party.
And
You know,
that's the core message of Shen Yun.
Yeah, that's the core message of Shen Yun. But if you look at Taiwan and China, they have very similar cultures, right? Although they are two countries. Let me be clear. Taiwan is its own country, right? So, but the culture are very similar. But however, if without Communist Party, then China the China's political system and the culture and the way the people live their life could be just similar to what's happening in Taiwan, right?
And thus, when it gets right down to it, people have to look at Taiwan and seeing it as being the greatest threat of all to the People's Republic of China.
Well, the
Because
CCP always
Taiwan
look at Taiwan as a threat, right? Not militarily, but ideologically,
and
uh,
culturally and
culturally.
economically and
Right. And maybe even economically, because Taiwan is the biggest semiconductor chips manufacturer center in the world, right? So I think that the Xi Jinping has reason to be threatened. Um, no, although nobody wants to threaten them, but the Chinese Communist Party, they're against everything we believe, and they're against every elements of the Western country freedom, free living lifestyle, right? So, um, I think that's why they're doing all these things, trying to uh, influence the world to cancel Taiwan. That's a part of cancel culture, I think.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't think it's working because who's in favor of China right now? Who's speaking up for China
Well,
for this
the
behavior?
Western world, especially in United States, we see a dramatic change in the public opinions against the Chinese Communist regime in the past few years. Past 10 years, I would say past 10 years, ever since Trump was elected
First
for
term.
his first term, right? The last 10 years, we have dramatic change on the public opinions on China. But if you go to European countries, it's quite different. Their negative opinions towards China, it's lower than the United States. And then if you go to Asian countries, and then that's even lower. And then even if you go to the South American and Latin American, Central American, and South in African countries, that's even lower. It's just
The opinion of China.
their opinion of China.
So
Well, see, here it's the issue. United States lead the way. Okay,
yeah,
United States, our policy, it's not just our government's policy. When our government starts something, then the world will follow. Now, January of 2018, when Trump started tariffs on China, 25% on the solar panels from China, that's something. It's a total new direction of our China policy in the past almost half century, ever since Nixon visited Beijing. So that basically it's a change of direction. And then Biden administration followed the same direction, and then it de-risk. So now we even passed the de-risk, and then we are head to head, with China now. So we are moving in the right direction. So to counter to deter the threat of the CCP in the Western Pacific. So I think we are moving in the right direction.
it's interesting that China points to Taiwan and calls it a destabilizing factor in international relations because
Well,
it
this
is
is the BS, right? Taiwan gave us, all the Nvidia's chips. Say they are relying on the TSMC, right? Uh, Now, I forgot. I didn't finish what I trying to say. So the United States leading the way, while the other countries they are delayed. You need a time for them to change their policy. You see, Germany, in November of last year, when Trump published the national security strategy of U.S. government, it points out it didn't mention any other European country's name except Germany, right? Because Germany is still building some of the biggest chemistry fact chemical chemistry chemical I'm sorry
processing. Yeah,
chemical manufacture factories in China using the oil from Russia, right? So you can see that the entire all the European countries they are still trying to doing this DEI to include China in this globalized economy. I mean, you can, and even you look at just last month during the major military operation in Iran, Spain's prime minister visited Beijing, and then after he met with Xi Jinping, and then he made this public statement, of what was multilateralism,
The, the new
all
world
these.
order of
Yeah, yeah. Basically, they are way behind. They are way behind. That's why, things taking place a lot slower in other countries than the United States. So,
well, we're leading the way in the Middle East because we are confronting one of the all-time nasties in the Middle East, Iran, which is in the catbird seat to completely take over the Middle East if somebody doesn't step in. And we stepped in. Whether we're successful there or not remains to be seen. And we're stepping in with the CCP and China as well. By
yeah, and
virtue,
that's why I say after this war finished, in the Middle East, you're going to see we have a lot of airlines in the Middle East while China has none.
yeah. Well, that's what we hope, and that's what we're fighting for. But at any rate, a lot going on out there in the world. One of the interesting things is to me is to see how paranoid the CCP is of other countries in the world, but especially of their own people. And as we speak, there's a surge in state-backed messaging urging the public to report suspected spies online in China. And people are now spying on each other to the extent never seen before. And I don't know if there's anything more frightening than not knowing who's watching you all the time. Could be your neighbor, could be your son and daughter. So you have everybody looking out at everybody, looking for somebody who is a spy.
Well, China has this system right now. They've been building it for a few years, 2 or 3 years. They started 2 or 3 years ago. They started family group leader. So basically, every 10 families, they're going to have one family leader who will watching these 10 families, who will report the behaviors of these families. They starting 2 or 3 years building this system. So basically, mainly throughout the cities, the urban lifestyle people, they will basically every 10 families will have one family head. So they
Now,
close.
isn't this a carrying on of a tradition developed in the Cultural Revolution where there was always somebody in the village watching out for other people?
Well, they are. It's kind of like they're. Well, see, the entire Chinese CCP regime's political system. It's like it started from their military system, right? So you
Right.
have the um, from very basic unit in the military in the company level, they will have the CCP com CCP commission, built in there to take the lead, and then
So every unit in the military
yeah,
has a political commissar,
that's right.
a
So
political officer.
yeah, yeah, from the company level up, right? So now then after they build up, they took over control of China, then they will have neighborhood unit, that the basic communist committee build up in every neighborhood, like a few blocks. They will have one basic unit of communist committee, and then every level up to the district level, and then to the city level, to the provincial level, and same thing, and in every department of the government and every military unit. They all have that. But then and even that they don't think it's enough. Then that's how a few years ago they started assign a military, a family group head, which is like every group is 10 families, and then you have one person in charge to make sure these 10 families will behave, will not go out to the street protest.
Right. So everybody has, but now it seems to be everybody is being turned into a watcher.
Oh
Everybody,
yeah, well, this is how they promote the NSS, National Security, uh, the Ministry of the Ministry of National Security, right? So so they are basically promoting people reporting each other,
yes.
if they have suspicious activities of spying. So that's what they say.
And what is spying? It could be anything,
Well, go back to Cultural Revolution time. What Chairman Mao is, if you have relatives overseas, if you know,
right?
yeah, you listen to Voice of America. I remember that's how I got in trouble, right? When, when I was last year of my college, I was listening to Voice of America. They are promoting this Bible study, and then I wrote them a letter, say, they are sending, they give out the free Bibles, right? So I
Right.
thought, I was interesting to know that kind of a culture. So I wrote them a letter send to the address they broadcasted from the radio, and then, but it was just like 2 or 3 months prior to my graduation, and the letter never went to Hong Kong. That's the address they broadcasted, and then it come back to my department, in the college, and then they talk to me. They say, "Oh, did you send this letter? Why did you ask for Bible?" I say, "I'm just curious." So I almost lost the of my of my college diploma for that.
Well, that's huge, Don Sue. And that's apparently what the CCP is now coming on all of the press on television and whatnot, calling on people to watch out for people like you.
Well,
If
if
you
you
see
have
somebody
any,
like,
yeah, if you don't listen, or if you are intend to have to do something, it's not even against them, right? You just want to understand, something different in the world. Well, but they saw that as a intention
well, they
that
were
may
right,
lead to something more dangerous. So they will stop you. You never know who is watching you until they come to talk to you, right?
right? And the funny thing is that they were right because you left, you rejected them, you came to America, and you're speaking up for now for a different kind of China. So
Yes.
they were right in
So
calling you
yeah.
into the office and saying,
But you can also see the potential, right? There are a few of them, not a lot of them. Well, there are I don't know, 1% or 2% of people eventually choose to leave China, and then among them, even fewer percentage of them, decided to step forward to speak out. But potentially there were a lot more people that don't like whatever the CCP is doing in China. That's why they are so frightened. They can't sleep at night because they know, maybe tomorrow they wake up, the regime will be gone, just like Iranian regime. They know that there's a lot of or maybe potential protest out there to go out to the street against them.
and that paranoia is infused pretty much everything that goes going on in China right now. I understand that Xi Jinping has not left Beijing ever since Venezuela, that we attacked on Venezuela. He said, "Well, if you guys can do that, I'm not leaving Beijing." So he hasn't left Beijing. He hasn't
Oh,
left the
well,
city.
except that he went to Xiong'an, right? The city he built,
Oh,
the
yeah,
most,
yeah,
yeah, Xiong'an, the place that he built for, it's a place supposed to he's go there if Beijing is attack, right?
right.
So that's the place that he prepared. Half of the city was built on the ground. It's just like Iranian, their nuclear, their nuclear facilities all on the ground, right? So he went there once. It's just look at how things are built. I mean, you guys, he's kind of in his mind. He's thinking, all the you guys need to go, speed up. We need to be
Hurry up,
ready.
hurry up, and get this thing ready. Another thing that's happening to demonstrate the paranoia is that they've outlawed private drones in Beijing. So you can't even buy them anymore, and you can't fly them because they don't want you snooping around and knowing what's going on, I guess.
And also they are used to be the case. They watch everybody's social media platform. But now they are going after all these social media platforms, platform business. They want all these social media platform to watch out, to self-censored, and then they gave a lot more and a lot restricted criterias, operation criterias to the social media platform companies. So everything is tightened up right now in China. Um, I don't know what the next step will be. It looks like, so Xi Jinping also, of course, along with this process, it's the Xi Jinping trying to have a tighter grasp of the military and prepare for the fifth plenary meeting later this year, and which will pave the way for the next year's, 21st national conference, and Xi Jinping prepared to, he wants to live 150 years, and he
150 years, you bet.
he wants to be the CCP party general for another 70 years.
Well, as I often say, I've come to see the CCP and its relationship with China as that of a private prison, because that is what has happened to China. It's been turned into a prison owned by the CCP, and who knows what's going to happen. But coming soon, Trump visits China. It's going to be a very interesting time for China observers to try to figure out what's going to happen, what it's going to mean for everybody. And we're also looking at Iran, all kinds of things happening right away. So that's what we do on China Now with Nan Su, Michael Olson, and you. We look at the world and we ask, 中国现在, friend or foe, war or peace? Thank you all for tuning in. See you next week for more China Now.